Welcome to Unscripted with Russo. I'm your host, Ashley Russo, president and executive producer of The Peak TV. For our podcast, we decided to explore the people behind the narratives. I'll introduce decision makers and influencers who are winners in their field and find out the intimate story behind their rise to success. Thank you for joining us today, everybody. I have our youngest guest yet on the podcast. I'm so excited. Marina Madain. She is the owner of Vanity Studio and Salon in Emmaus. You are 22 years old. Is that correct?
Yep.
So, Marina, I am so excited to have you here because you are a budding entrepreneur. You are a strong young woman, and you are creating business opportunity in this area of the Lehigh Valley. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, let's talk to people a little bit about where you come from and where you grew up, and maybe we can piece together how you became an entrepreneur at such a young age. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I actually grew up in Emmaus, so that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to have the salon in Emmaus. It's actually walking distance from my parents' house where I grew up. And my parents, they still live there, so it's kind of nice, they're close by, they walk down, say hello, but so I grew up in Emmaus, and I went through the East Penn School District, and then after high school, I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do, so I ended up going to the community college, and I thought I wanted to do occupational therapy, so I did 2 years of that, and then I did some shadowing experience, and I wanted something a little more like upbeat. It was kind of like slow, but I really liked interacting with people. So I decided to take a semester off, and my cousin actually had a baby, so I decided to nanny for her. So I took care of the little guy, and then the whole time I was babysitting, I was just watching like YouTube videos of hair and makeup, and I used to have my friends over to my parents' house, so I was still living there, and I used to like practice on them doing hair and makeup, and I would dye my friend's hair with box color, and so finally, my one cousin actually, she's in California now, but she's a hairdresser, and I used to love like seeing the pictures she posted on Facebook and Instagram and like all of that. So finally my parents were like, just go. And I'm like, what? I don't know if it's like a real career. And they're like, just do it. Just go check it out. So
well, first of all, how cool that you had parents that sort of said,
yeah,
they see this as a passion, and they just encourage you. Have they always been those kind of parents? Have they always been the parents that said, yeah that's neat. Now, do you have siblings?
I have a younger sister.
Okay.
Yeah, she's up at Penn State, actually.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Great. So growing up, were you the kind of kid that was like, you were doing people's hair? Were you, I was that kid too. Like,
really?
I had 9 girls over before a dance like freshman or sophomore year.
Funny.
And it would be 20 minutes till we had to leave. And I was like, I'm not ready because I had done everyone
my gosh,
else.
That's exactly what I did for prom, actually. For like the morning of my senior prom, I had like a little business going. I wasn't even worried about like getting my own hair and makeup done. I had like people coming in and out. I was charging them and trying to, have a little business back then.
Now that was a lot smarter. I wasn't charging anyone. And I think that's a fundamental difference here. You're really ahead of the game, but I have a daughter who's really into makeup, and watches YouTube, and she's very good at it. And I keep saying to her, this would be a great little side gig that you could really, what do you have to be, 15 or 16 to get your cosmetology license?
I think you can do it like through those like Votech programs, which I wish I would have done that. It would have saved me a lot of money, but it's okay. Still did it. But I think like 15 or 16, like through high school, you can do it.
All right. So as a kid, you're definitely interested in hair and makeup.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're charging people, all right. So you're really running a business before you even left high school. What did people think of that? Like, what was the feedback you got? Did you think it was just normal for you?
Yeah. Like my friends were like really into it too. So we all used to like watch YouTube videos of like makeup and stuff, but they weren't really like surprised when I ended up going to beauty school. It was kind of just like, oh yeah, you're finally going.
Oh, that's great. But this is the business part of you. So lots of women your age are really into makeup tutorials and hair tutorials, right? You guys are definitely the driving generation behind that. And very few actually turn it into a business. So talk to me about you as a little girl and maybe your parents. Like what kind of jobs were you exposed to? What do your parents do for a living? I mean, what was the thing you think that propelled you to take it from watching YouTube videos to building a salon? Yeah,
it's so crazy actually, because I thought I was going to be in like the medical field because that's what my parents were doing. So that's how my parents actually met. My mom does more of the accounting stuff for kidney dialysis, and my dad was the one that hooking patients up to the machines. So they actually met in the medical field. So, and I just thought like, okay, like a lot of people in my family are like physical therapists, like nurses. So I'm like, okay, that's what I should do. So I shadowed And then I thought like, okay, I'm going to be an occupational therapist. But I really liked in high school like art classes and more like hands-on things. And so I was always like, even when I was a little kid, I was always into like arts and crafts and that kind of thing. But like I said, my parents, they're not, like, my mom is really good at like math, and that is not my thing at all. Like that was more like their thing. So they were kind of like, you know, where did you come from? Because
you were artistic.
Yeah.
That's neat. But it's kind of cool that they supported you. Did you, early on, did you ever have any little businesses? Like, were you the kid with the lemonade stand? Were you?
No, just like doing people's hair and makeup.
That's pretty great. Did you ever do it on dolls? Was it back? Were you into dolls?
Yeah, actually, I used to cut like Barbie's hair when I was little. Yeah, and my grandma actually, she was, maybe when I was like 10, she used to let me cut her hair.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very trusting of your grandmother. I love it.
Yeah, when I started taking clients when I was in beauty school, she was like my first client, and she wanted to be because she used to let me cut her hair when I was like 10.
She was probably like, listen, she's already done this way before the training. Tell me a little bit about things you were into as a kid. So you're growing up in East Penn. Did you play any sports? Did you play any instruments? Were you in any clubs?
I did dance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. I just liked like art and music and like that kind of thing. I don't know.
Any particular type of dancing that you really loved, or?
I liked ballet and hip hop. That was like.
Well, those are the two extremes, really, right? Amazing. It's interesting. I always think how many people that do one form of dance also study the other forms of dance and how they complement one another. I mean, what about those attracted you? Like, what was it about ballet or hip hop, which do seem like opposite ends of the
like
spectrum,
totally
that was different than like tap or?
But it's crazy because even though hip hop looks more like it's not really like choreographed or it's like not technical, it like kind of is. So they have you like go through ballet and learn like the technical part of dance before you like, you know, do more hip hop, which is like more loose, I would say, than not like so like.
So the building blocks are there, whether you're doing. Now, did you do competition and all that? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you travel?
A little bit, kind of like just, you know, like tri-state area, not like far, but.
Okay. And what about your extended family? Do you have a lot of family from the area? Do you have traditions or things that are unique to your family?
That's a good question. So my dad was actually born in the Middle East. So my dad was born in Jordan, and he came over here when he was like 12 or 13. So he came over here. He's one of 5. So his whole family came over here. And then my mom is actually one of 5. So I have a huge family. Wow. So I have a lot of cousins. And my sister and I are actually the youngest. So out of all my cousins, so they all have kids, my older cousins. So my family's huge.
Wow. So hence the nannying, because you have cousins that have kids.
Oh my God. Yeah. So,
and what do you think about that influence over your life? I mean, are you a tight-knit family? Do you get together with your cousins? Are there traditions or meals or things that you have kept going from those different cultures?
So it's funny because my mom's Irish and German and my dad is like Jordanian. He's from the Middle East. So a lot of like my grandparents like don't really speak English. So it's kind of crazy how like the two sides of the family are totally opposite. So it's funny, like family get-togethers are strange, but it's fun. But
what about food? Those are really different food cultures. I always go to food because I love food, and I'm Italian, so food is like a big
Italian food is
thing.
So good.
And I know that Middle Eastern food is one of my favorites. So how do you see the melding of the cultures from a food standpoint?
Well, my mom kind of learned to cook like Arabic food, so but I'm actually allergic to a lot of things, so I don't really eat too much of it.
Okay. But tell me about these allergies.
So I'm allergic to all nuts, seeds, and wheat. Okay.
But those are fairly easily avoidable in the light time you're living in.
Yeah.
Really?
Doable.
Yeah, okay. That's good. So you've learned to adapt with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, interesting. And when did you find out about that? Were you like little?
When I was 2, my dad was feeding me Cheerios, but he was eating pistachios, so he was touching my Cheerios. So
with
that that was the
wow.
first time. And then the sesame allergy, I was in like 5th grade, and I had a plain bagel from Dunkin', and there was like sesame seeds like in the cream cheese because they used the same knife. And so that was that incident, found out it was sesame, and then 2 years ago I found out I was allergic to like gluten. So
really? Mm-hmm. Wow. But you hadn't been, did you think you were gluten sensitive before that?
I guess I just didn't notice. I didn't know what was wrong with me, but
you knew something was bothering you. Interesting. Okay, cool. So tell me a little bit about when you decided you wanted to go to beauty school. And I love that your parents were the ones who sort of said, just do this.
So finally, after babysitting, I babysat through the whole summer and then fall semester, and then it was coming time to like sign up for classes for spring semester, and I didn't really know like, do I want to just force myself into doing something or just taking like gen ed classes and something that's like, I guess like general that would kind of transfer to something else. Like I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So my mom's like, why don't you make an appointment over at Metro, just check it out, see if you like it. And as soon as I walked in, I was like, oh my God, I love it. So I sat down and they were like, okay, it's going to be this much. And I was like, wow, okay. So I was like, okay, that's, a shock. But because it's not a school, so you can't do like student loans or anything. It's just like, that's what it is.
You have to be ready to pay it.
And I mean, I was working at Sweet and Sassy, so I'm like, yeah, I can't bring in like a duffel bag of like, cash for you. So, so, I mean, my parents definitely helped me out with that. And then I was like, I felt bad because I'm like, what if like I don't end up
doing
working?
this?
Yeah, I'm like, what if I don't, I don't want them to like waste their money. And my mom's like, at least it's something that you'll always have it. Like you'll have your license forever. So you can always, even if you do it on the side. And
it's a point. Yeah. I mean, not only could you always have it, but really in a lot of ways, your parents were probably looking at it from a little bit of a broader picture than you were and thinking, okay, this is a person who's already had a business doing hair in high school, right, on the side. Is working at Sweet and Sassy, which for anyone who doesn't know is a fabulous place for young girls. This is the mother of a daughter who has been there for a birthday party.
That's so fun.
And she's a teenager now and would, shudder at the idea of sparkles and pink and Sweet and Sassy. But there was a time where she loved that place, and it's a pretty cool business model. Kids get such joy there. Your parents were probably thinking this is a pretty good gamble.
Yeah, and they were just telling me like because. I kept thinking, well, like the classes that I took were such a waste, and they're like, it wasn't a waste. Like, even if you go back to school in the future, like at least you can work on the side and like save up money or whatever. So I'm like, okay. So I ended up, I was done babysitting in January, and the end of January is when I started beauty school, and then went through school for 10 months, and then I graduated in October, and then that's when I started assisting at a salon to kind of like get a feel for it, and then I just like loved it ever since.
So when you are in beauty school, tell me what was the best thing that you learned and what was the worst thing that you had to learn?
Worst was perms, definitely. That was horrible.
Was it just the tediousness, the tedious nature of putting in the rollers, the smell of the chemicals? Yes. What, perms?
I think it was more of like they would time us like 45 minutes for a perm, and I'm the type of person like that's all I would do is look at the clock, and I would just waste time looking at the clock. Like,
and you're probably very meticulous, right?
Yeah.
So you were paying attention to
So one was wrong, so I'm like taking it out, looking at the clock, like, okay, I have like 42 minutes, and
instead of just doing it. Okay, so I have a great perm story.
Oh no.
Okay, so much like yourself, I used to have longer, dark, curly hair, and so I should never have needed a perm because I had long, dark, curly hair. But it was like the late 80s, early 90s when I was in middle school, and I thought I had this brilliant idea that I was going to get a spiral perm. Not just a perm, but a spiral perm, which I don't even know if they still exist, but they would take these long tubes, and you would wrap the hair on the tube, and then you'd wrap the tube.
And the hair is like...
Oh, I will show you the picture. It is my 8th grade school picture, and it is some big, good Jersey girl hair. So that is my only time I ever got a perm.
Oh my God.
But I was very proud of it at the time. And I remember how long it took.
It was probably
too.
Huge. Yeah.
I think it took like 3 hours. I don't know how,
Yeah, they used to time us for 45 minutes. Even thinking about it now, it's like brings back like anxiety.
So no perms at Vanity Studio.
I actually don't even offer them. It's not even on the menu.
See? There you go.
Because I don't know how to do it.
What's your favorite thing? What's the best thing you did in beauty school?
Color. That's my thing.
Color.
I love color.
Well, as a woman who has to have her hair colored on a pretty regular basis, I thank you for being good at color because it doesn't stay dark forever. Evidently, that's a thing.
Yep.
What about color? Like, what is it about that whole process?
I think it was more of like, with cutting, I was just nervous because like once you cut it, it's gone. So you know if you mess up. So
that's it.
When I was in beauty school, like learning color I felt like easier for me to learn because if you know the color wheel, like if you just mess up, it's easy to fix it. And I don't know, I just thought it was like easier for me to learn, and I don't know, I just felt like if I would mess up, I could easily, like I knew how to fix it. And
yeah, you like that you had a solution.
Yeah. So I guess like I wasn't afraid to like try something because I'm like, well, if that doesn't work out, I'll just add this to it and cancel it out. But cutting always, I was hesitant.
I feel like there's a lot of creativity to color.
Because, it's crazy. Like hair color, each like strand of hair like has the 3 primary colors in it, and like once like dark hair has a lot of blue, so once you like remove the blue, what's left is red and yellow, so it's orange. That's why. And then you tone out the brass, so then it's like once you bleach them again, you take out the red and what's left is yellow. So that's like why blondes are super yellow. So like the whole color wheel was like so interesting to me, I think, because I liked art class so much, so I already like knew a lot about like what colors cancel what and that kind of thing. So but cutting just made me so nervous because I myself had bad haircuts like in the past, so I would always be nervous, like, oh well, you know, what if they always say like hairdressers take too much, like, you know, when everybody says like, oh, I got a haircut and they took like 5 inches and I said an inch, and so I didn't want to be that person, so I would just be like super slow. Like I would do haircuts, like it would take me like an hour and a half to like do a haircut.
Oh my
now
gosh.
I don't do that, but
that's great. Well, you had to get over the hump. Well, yeah, I also cut my sister's hair, so I'm
Really?
like a total kitchen beautician.
My God. I
and
love it.
if I wasn't doing this for a living, I always say that
You'd be doing hair?
I would, yeah, I really would.
so cool.
I really love that, and love doing like updos and learning.
Oh my God.
Every time I'm at the salon, I'm like paying really close attention. Like, what are you doing exactly? So, but I have a sister who had a lot of damage from color over time.
Oh, no.
And so she's like, I need a trim. And I'm like, come over here. And I did that. I cut like 5. I told her I'd cut 2 and I cut 5. She was happy at the end.
Oh, okay.
No tears.
Okay.
She knew
healthy hair is good hair.
She knew it had to be done.
Yep.
It's grown back in and it's healthy again. That's why I can really, when you were talking about that, I'm thinking, oh, I'm that person. I've done that.
No, it's funny because like even when clients like they want to go blonde, or you know they come back after like so many times of bleaching and they're like, I want to keep it long, and it's like, well, I'd rather give you a haircut than a chemical haircut. Like your hair is gonna eventually just
fall
disappear.
out.
Yeah.
So you get this job in a salon and you start working in the industry. What makes you say, I want to open my
I
own
keep getting like
place?
off track.
That's all right.
It's like,
We're
oh,
good.
yeah, we were
No,
talking
it's
about that.
good. It's good. What makes you make that decision? And how did you think that was something like, oh, at my age, it doesn't matter, I'm just going to do it?
So, well, actually, I started working at Sweet and Sassy when I was 16, and then I was working there all through beauty school. So I was working there like through high school, while I was going to college, and then while I was babysitting, and then all through beauty school. And then since I liked color so much, and Sweet and Sassy doesn't offer that, I mean, it's for little kids, and I got a lot of cutting experience, but I just really loved color. So I ended up leaving there, and I found a salon that used the same color line that I used at the beauty school that I went to, that I felt comfortable with, because I didn't want to learn a whole new color line. I was like, you know, I'll stay with this one. I feel comfortable with it. I know the numbers, because the numbers mean different tones and colors. So I'm like, okay, this is perfect right out of beauty school. And I actually really loved it there. So I started working there right after I graduated school. And then the girl that I was assisting for, the assisting program was 3 to 6 months. So I started with her, expecting to only assist her for 3 to 6 months. And then about 2 months in, she pulled me aside and was like, hey, you know, there's going to be a change of plans. I need you for 9 months. And she kind of left it at that. And I was thinking like, oh my God, I suck. Like I suck at doing hair.
Yeah,
but here I didn't understand she was pregnant. So so I was thinking like, wow, I'm the worst. So for 2 days, I just kind of like let it sink in, like, wow, you know, I guess I suck at doing hair. And then I finally decided to ask her. So I was like, hey, you know, Lauren, do I suck at doing hair? And she's like, no, why would you think that? And I was like, well, because I was only supposed to assist you for 3 months and now you need me for 9 months. And she's like, I thought you were getting the hint. And I was like, what hint? And she's like, I'm pregnant. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay, I feel like an idiot. So I'm like, okay. So I ended up assisting her through her whole pregnancy. So then when she left, I ended up taking her clients. So then, which that was her plan. So they would feel comfortable going to somebody that, you know, they've seen a couple appointments through.
Sure.
So ended up taking her clients on, and then I actually babysit for her now every once in a while.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that.
Yeah, so that was about 3 years ago. But yeah, so I still babysit for her. But yeah, so then I took on my own clients, and then I just started to promote myself on like Instagram and Facebook and getting friends and family in, and then I just decided to kind of, you know, branch out on my own.
Okay, so you say it like, I just decided to branch out on my own.
Yeah.
But starting a business is often a daunting thing, and it's something people think a lot about, especially in their 20s. And they take a job and they're not, you know, maybe they're happy with the job, but they're not really sure how to branch out. How do they do that? So tell me the nuts and bolts. I mean, you wanted to do this, but how did you actually make it happen? What were the steps involved?
So I'll be completely honest. I wasn't even planning on opening a salon. it's crazy to me that it actually happened. What actually was the plan? So I consolidated my hours. I was working like 4 to 5 days a week, and I ended up squishing my hours into like 3 days, and I would work like really long hours because since I live in Macungie, driving all the way up to Easton, it was like kind of far. So I decided to like squish all my hours in, and all my friends and family are in Emmaus, so they were driving like the same distance that I was driving to work. So what ended up happening was I was, doing long days, a couple days a week, and then my days off, I was still doing hair at home. So I wasn't having like any days off because family, they'd work late and they can't get to the salon by the time, salon closes.
Sure.
So they'd be like, oh, can you do this? And I didn't want to say no. So I'm like, yeah, sure. So I was working like every single day. So I'm like, oh, this is a little crazy. And then I also actually have fibromyalgia. So I was like always tired all the time. And I'm like, I'm working like too much. Like this is crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't good for your health, you're not
so
having any time for you.
I'm like, I don't know. My clients are driving so far, like I'm driving far. So then I ended up cutting back my hours a little more and doing more clients like at home. And then my boyfriend's, we have an apartment and 2 dogs, and he's like, listen, he gets home from work and he's trying to heat up food, and I have like a lady sitting there with foils on her head, and he's like, this isn't gonna work. So
this is infringing on our life a little too much.
So after like a couple months of that, he's like, listen, I really support you working, but at the same time, the dogs, every person that would come to the house, the dogs are going nuts, and one of them is a puppy, so she'd be like jumping everywhere, and then it's like embarrassing when you have like your 4-month-old puppy like peeing on the floor and your client's sitting there. It's like kind of, so I was like, yeah, I need to figure something out. So our apartment has a downstairs that used to have a commercial license. So I was like, well, what if I rent out the downstairs and I have my like little business going on down there, and then we live on the upstairs? And he's like, yeah, that sounds good. So then I looked into it, but the Macungie borough was a little tough because it has to be handicap accessible. It's going to be expensive. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'll look for something else, like another place. And so he actually helped me find a place. I found the place in Emmaus, and I was like, okay, it's a really cute little place. And it's funny because it used to be a cupcake shop, and I used to walk past it home from school when I would walk from Emmaus home, and I used to think it was like the cutest little cupcake place. So I said to him, I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna love this place. The only thing is the parking sucks. And when we saw it, I like fell in love with it, and I was like, I want this place. So he was saying to me, why don't you hire another girl to work with you? Because then, you don't have to be there 24/7. And one thing led to another, and now there's 5 of us, and it's so crazy. So,
and you've been open for how long at this point?
Since February 16th.
Yeah, so you went from 1 person to 5 people in a matter of a couple months.
Yep.
That's incredible.
So I'm kind of learning like the business aspect of it, because I felt comfortable with the hair part of it, but not, like the business stuff. So I'm learning that.
What is it that you feel like you are looking to learn? I mean, where are you, so that people who are doing this themselves can also understand that it's okay if you don't know everything?
Yeah, it's like, all the forms and the tax stuff and that stuff. I guess it just makes me nervous because, I joke about it. Like I always say to my boyfriend, well, if I mess this up, I'm going to end up in jail. And he's like, no, you're not. I shouldn't even joke about it, but I'm just afraid because my parents don't own businesses, and I don't really know too many people that do. My boyfriend's dad does own a business, but his is construction, so it's
different rules, different legislation, all those things you have to follow. Yeah, I find that to be probably the most challenging part of having your own business also, is just where, making sure you're doing all the right things and having the right insurance and the right paperwork and the right taxes. And
all that stuff.
Yeah, it's tough, and it is business to business a little bit to learn all that. You're saying like your family, don't have business in your family. Are you seeking any outside help? Where are you getting?
No.
You're sort of figuring it out yourself for right now. Okay.
It's kind of crazy. I just would call like one person, they'd lead me to like the next person, and I would just like kind of just, okay, well, and then be like, okay, how can I help you? I'm like, oh, this person told me to call you because I need help with this. So I kind of just like have been learning as I go.
And now that you're in it, and you kind of came out of the idea that you were bursting at the seams in your apartment. It wasn't great for your relationship to be in your apartment. So there's an expression, necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
So you had something necessary you had to do and invented the salon. And now that you've grown to 5 people and clients, what are you thinking now? Are you starting to envision what this salon looks like in a year or in 5 years? Or
honestly, my lease is up in next November, and I already thought about like expanding and getting a bigger place because there is 5 of us and it is a small little place. So it's so crazy to think that like back in November. I quit my job on November 3rd, and then I got the keys to the place on the day after Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving, actually, my realtor called me, and I'm like, why is he calling me on Thanksgiving? And I answered, and he's like, hey, I just wanted to let you know you're going to have a good Thanksgiving this year. And I'm like, okay, why? And he's like, oh, you got the place. And I was like, oh my God. So at Thanksgiving, my family actually goes around and like we always say like something we're thankful for. So I decided to go last this year. I was like, oh Mom, why don't you start? Because she was like on the left side of me. So I ended up being last, and I was like, oh, I'm thankful I got a business. And my mom was like, what? And my parents were like so excited. So
oh my gosh, that's the best. That's amazing. What kinds of support have you gotten from your family? Obviously they've been your clients, so that's been awesome. But what other kinds of support have you received from your family and friends through this process? It could be physical, emotional, whatever.
Honestly, like they've helped me so much. My parents have been really supportive with like, the whole idea, because it's funny, when I didn't have the place yet, between those 2 weeks of I wasn't at the salon and I was just at home, like working at home, I knew I was going to get a salon, whether it was that place or somewhere else. So I started ordering furniture. I ordered the chairs, the hydraulic chairs. I ordered all this stuff. So my dad called me the one day and he's like, our garage is full of furniture. What if you don't get a salon? I'm like, Dad, I'm going to get a salon. And he's like, okay, well, this furniture is taking up room, so you better find something fast. I'm like, I will.
That's great.
But yeah, I mean, my mom comes in on Sundays and helps me clean the place, and my boyfriend's family, his family, they have the construction business, but it's a corporation, it's not an LLC, so they weren't able to help me with like that stuff, but their accountant helped me a lot, and they were able to help me with like the paperwork and payroll and like that kind of thing, because I mean, I don't know any of that stuff, but
amazing how much you can learn just trial by fire, right? Just doing it and learning. And what about your customers? I mean, have you grown your customer base? Have new people found you, and how are they finding you?
Honestly, like the biggest thing is like word of mouth. Like a lot of clients that I get, it's like, oh, you do my friend's hair, or you do my mom's hair, and stuff like that. And a lot of my clients actually came to my grand opening, which was like really nice. But it's funny because like a lot of them found me through like Instagram or Facebook, like originally. And then now it's like, I always joke that like half my clientele is the DeSales PA, like what is it? Like they're going for the PA program.
All the students?
Yeah.
Program? Yeah.
I always say that like those are all my clients, because like I got like one, and then all of a sudden it's like somebody would call and they're like, hey, like I'm in the PA program at DeSales and you do this, and I'm like, oh my God.
Which is interesting, because really I think one of the things that shows you is not just the power of a good reputation and word of mouth, but also where you potentially have a client base, which, I mean, everyone, basically needs a salon. So it's interesting to me that, you can find a niche and grow there, and maybe it's not even a place you expected to grow, right? What about the services that you offer? So hair is really your thing. Yeah. What else do you offer at the salon?
So a big thing for me was I wanted to have a salon that was more geared towards like younger girls, only because the salon that I worked at before was really nice, but it was a lot of the services that they offered were more for like older women, and the salon had been around for a while, which, I mean, it was a well-established salon, but I wanted like younger services like spray tans and like teeth whitening and lash extensions, and like I feel like girls now in like high school, we're so close to Emmaus High School, and so many girls get their lashes done and spray tans, and with prom coming up, so I just thought like that'd be cool to have like a place where I wanted it just like a homey like atmosphere, and just services for like younger girls, not perms and
That's
that kind
really
of thing.
Neat. I mean, I love that, because you're trying to kind of carve out a niche that I think there is a need in, because you've got like a sweet and sassy for little kids, and so many salons are experts and really cater really well to like an over 40 or over 50 crowd, but you guys are left a lot like in your 20s and 30s is sort of where's your place. So it's kind of neat that that's your brand and where you're kind of driving.
That was like my main thing. Like I wanted to offer like the lash extensions, because that's huge right now, so I wanted to do that, and I wanted to have like to make appointments, like you go online, like just keep up with technology and like all of that.
Make it a user-friendly experience. That's cool. So what have you learned about yourself as a business owner, or just as a person, through the process of starting and opening your own business? What do you feel you've learned?
I think I need to cope with stress a little bit better.
Said every single business owner ever. Welcome to our club.
Oh my God. Yeah, so that, I mean, because I feel like there's always like a million things to be done, and when like realistically, I just want to sit on the couch because I'm so tired. So I just let it
Well,
pile
go
up
easy
and then
on yourself.
yeah, and
That's my older business owner advice to you is try to go easy on yourself and have like goals that are reasonable. So that when you accomplish them, take a minute and feel good that you accomplished them. We really try to do that here because we're always moving on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's important that
That's
we
my
stop
follow-up.
and say, okay, this particular project we worked on was awesome. You know, high five, we're proud of each other kind of thing, not just what's next on the docket, you know?
That's true. Yeah, I really need to do that.
It's important too for your team. You know, you're building this team and you're building them really fast. So tell me about your team a little bit.
So I have my assistant Victoria. She was actually my assistant from the other salon, and I took her with me. So she will be done with Metro, hopefully July. So she'll be done, and then she'll have a station. So I'll have her set up for a station at the salon. And then I have Sabrina, who I actually met through a friend, and she's been doing hair for a couple years. We went to beauty school together. And Christina, she actually won a competition through Matrix. So she's been traveling around the country. This whole year she'll be traveling, so which is really cool through Matrix. I don't know if you ever saw that show, Tabitha's Salon Takeover.
Sure, yeah.
So she's actually traveling with Tabitha,
Oh my
which
gosh,
is cool.
how great is
Yeah,
that?
so she's traveling with her.
Very neat.
And then Sarah. Sarah's been one of my best friends like since 6th grade. So she's actually a makeup artist, and she's the salon's manager. So she ever seriously like, since like 6th grade we've been watching like YouTube videos together, and it's so funny because throughout her getting her makeup certificate at Metro, I was like always her model. So then when I was going through hair school, like she was my model, and then we've just been friends ever since. She's actually in nursing school right now. So
Sounds like you've built a really great group of people that you want to be around, and I'm imagining that vibe translates really well to your
and it's
to your
nice, like everybody's
customers.
young and wants to learn, so you know we can all take classes together and learn new things and keep up with like the trends and everything, because I feel like with hair you have to, because you know things are always changing. And I hear perms are coming back, which like
Oh boy.
actually a client this morning told me.
But listen, at your salon, you don't have to have a timer.
Yeah,
You can let it
you're
see.
right.
Maybe that's just the timer is just the thing you have to remove. Who knows? I don't know. I don't see
I
myself
think it is
getting
the
a
timer,
perm
even-
anytime soon. But
Oh my
who
god!
knows?
Even if I'm like heating up food and there's like 1 second left in the microwave, I like open it. Like no, I hate when it beeps.
So the timer is like your
Yeah.
kryptonite, not good for you. It's funny you say that about the perms because I always wonder, you know, it's interesting, like now that I'm getting older and my hair is going gray and I keep it a little shorter, it
It's a
doesn't.
really cute haircut. It's like
Thank
the
you.
first thing I noticed when I walked in.
Thanks. My color needs refreshing,
It's
but
so
thank
cute.
you. But you know, it's not the way it used to be. It's you know, your hair thins a little bit as you get older. It's not as curly as it used to be, which I actually liked my natural curl. So I find myself like betwixt and between. So that's kind of interesting how
Yeah, they're
hair
coming back.
changes, like with your age, your hormones, the color that it is naturally. So you know, listen, as a girl who wore the high-waisted jeans at 12.
Oh my
And I
God.
look back at pictures and
High-waisted
think
jeans
that
are in.
I can't even. I think they're horrible and I don't understand it. So my daughter saw a picture of me. I was around 12 or 13 and I had on a mock turtleneck
Oh my
tucked
God.
into high-waisted mom jeans, you guys now call them, with a belt. I look at that picture and I
That's
think,
crazy.
oh, that's so horrible. And
No,
the
it's
reality
in.
is my daughter looks and she goes, wow, mom, really cool outfit, which is high praise coming from a
Yeah.
14-year-old. And I'm like, okay, reframe how you look at that picture. So everything truly does come back. So I guess
Yeah.
my point is to tell you, if my 12-year-old style came back, my 14-year-old perm is bound
my
to
God.
follow. So,
Yep.
so get ready. What have you learned from the business community? I mean, we kind of learned about you through the chamber, and we got some heads up from, you know, our partners at the chamber help us so much as a business on Main Street in Hellertown, and you're a business in Emmaus, and said, there's this really cool young business owner that you should talk to. What has the business community done to kind of welcome you, and how have you felt like not just the business community, but in particular the salon community? I mean, has that been something that you've felt encouraged in? Has it been competitive?
The best thing that I ever did was join the chamber, honestly, because I didn't even know anything about marketing. I didn't know how to like get my name out there, and they did all of that for me because, you know, like I said, I don't have a background in, I just know how to do hair. I don't know how to do like the marketing and like that type of thing. So they were so quick to, you know, organize like my grand opening and the morning call article and the East Penn Press and like all that stuff. And I like somebody tagged me in an article on Facebook and I just clicked it and I was like, wait, that's me. Like I had no idea that. I was like, oh my God, it's about me. I didn't even know. And they just took care of that, for me, which was so nice because that was one less thing that I had to like stress about because I don't know about it.
I think it shows you the power of partnerships and when you're building a business, which is always, in some ways, you're always building your business. It's always evolving, but those partners are really important along the way. So I'm glad that you found the chamber, and we found them to be a really good partner as well. It's cool.
No, they're great.
What is it that you want your future? Tell me what the future looks like for you. And I know future is a big statement, but give me like 5 years.
5 years, I would, with like personally or like the business?
Whatever you want to share.
Well, I would like to be out of my apartment, hopefully have a house, and expand the salon. I mean, that's like something I've been really thinking about, not only because my neighbors upstairs are like so loud, but I would really like to have like something that's bigger, or even if I could buy something, just because right now, I'm paying 2 rents, and it's like that. I'm kind of learning
the stress behind it
between like
that is tough,
and it's not even so much like the money part of it. It's more of like it's like one thing's due one day, and then like something's due another day, and I have like a list of like, I swear each day I have like something that I have to like write and sign something or mail something or go online, and it's just like.
Well, I will tell you that the best piece of advice I've probably been given as a business owner is to know your strengths, but more importantly, know your weaknesses, and then cover them with the right people and the right team. So I guess I will pass that on to you and to say, it's okay, embrace what you don't know. You don't have to learn everything. You don't have to master everything, because guess what? There's someone else who is just as much of an expert in that piece as you are in hair. So the more that I expand and the more, I guess, experts I bring into my circle to help me, kind of just allows me to be and focus on what I love doing and what I'm good at doing. So hopefully you can take that. Yeah, of course. I'm so happy to have you. It is just a total joy to talk to a young woman who is following her passion and her dream. If you could give one piece of advice to other young girls out there, you worked at Sweet and Sassy for a long time, so you had a lot of young girls coming in and out of your chair. And what would that advice be about just living their lives and who they become?
Honestly, like I always tell my assistant now, she always stresses to me that she's worried, what if this isn't the right decision, and what if like, she doesn't end up liking doing hair, and what if she doesn't make money? And I just said, just go with the flow and just enjoy it, because working at Sweet and Sassy, I mean, I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I had fun there. And then working at the salon, I was like, well, my friends and family come in as clients, even if I don't build a book or anything, like it's fun. I like doing hair, and I like taking pictures of it and posting it on Instagram. And then, then eventually, like the whole process of opening the salon, it was so fun to like decorate. And like I remember like decorating, and I was like joking to like my family, I'm like, well, if it doesn't work out, I'm gonna live here. At least it'll be cute, because like I'm like, well, now I have like 2 rents and 2, like it's double of everything. So I'm like, well, if it doesn't work out, I can't handle it, then I'm just gonna live here, but at least it's cute, because I had fun decorating. So I mean, just like don't stress, just enjoy it.
Find the little joys in each thing along the way. I love that. Well, before I let you go, we do a little rapid fire at the end. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a few questions. You ready? All right, what is your favorite animal?
Shark. Is that an animal or a fish?
No, sharks are mammals, aren't they?
Oh, okay, yeah, I think they are.
Sharks
because
mammals? No, sharks are
I think they're
fish.
Mammals because they have babies, they don't have eggs.
This is terrible that we don't know.
I think it's an animal. I always say that's my favorite animal.
I think you're right. I like
now
it.
Saying that out loud, I'm like,
okay, now do
is
you
it a
mean
fish?
you like sharks, like you like watching Shark Week on TV, or you would actually get in the water and swim with a shark?
Oh, I have actually for my 18th
have?
birthday.
What?
Yep, at the Camden Aquarium, you can get in that tank.
That is bold.
It was like the best thing ever.
What is it about the shark?
I don't know. I just think they're so cool. Like, I don't know. I feel like because they're like super like dangerous, but at the same time, like, I don't know. It's like they're unexpected. Like, I don't know. You don't know what you're gonna get from them.
I love that.
I think it's cool.
I love that. I didn't expect that answer. All right. What is your absolute favorite food to eat?
Well, I'm gluten-free, so gluten-free mac and cheese is probably one of my favorites, but I also really love avocado.
Avocado goes with everything, really, doesn't it?
So good.
I know. If you could do one fun night out, what would that night be? What's like your best night?
Ooh, I love the city, New York City.
Yeah. Anything in particular in New York City?
I really like going to the Sugar Factory. I like it there. Or like going out to a bar.
Just like the vibe in the city.
Yeah, I love the city.
Nice. What is a place that you have never visited that you would love to go see?
I've never been to Europe, so I mean anywhere in Europe I would love to go.
Anywhere?
Yep.
Okay. It's all great. Wherever I've been,
Yeah.
it's great. There's lots of places I'd
Oh my
like
God,
to
you've
still
been?
go. Well, you know, the thing is, once you go to one place in Europe, then the answer doesn't become Europe. It becomes like the specific places you
Yeah.
haven't been in Europe. So, yeah, it's good. I don't know. I'm a little biased to Italy because I studied
Really?
abroad there. So
That's so cool.
I say start there.
I need to go.
But it's all pretty awesome.
Oh,
So
I'd
do
love
that.
to
Make that a
go.
dream. Start saving in a jar.
Yeah, right?
It's pretty hard when you're young and you're starting a business, but I think anything's possible.
One day.
I think anything's possible. Awesome. All right. So if you were to describe yourself in 3 words, what would those 3 words be?
I don't know. I would say maybe like adventurous. I always like trying new things, and I'm not really like afraid to try new things. And like, well, if it turns out bad, then whatever.
You tried.
Maybe caring. I have 2 dogs, and I love babysitting. I just love like, I don't know, I have a lot of plants too. I like taking care of things. I don't know. I think I'm a good listener. I don't know if that's that's not one word, but
That's okay. I love that one. Actually, that's an answer no one's given before.
But really,
Yeah, adventurous, caring, and a good listener.
yeah,
I think that sums you up.
because being a hairdresser, I learned to kind of be a therapist at the same time. But I don't really like giving like my advice. I just kind of just listen.
You listen and take it
Yeah.
in. Well, that's great to know. I think that all of your clients and future clients would be happy to know that you're all of those things and more. Well, we're so happy to have you here. I'm so excited for you, and congratulations on your business. And we
thank
just wish you
you.
the best, and
Thank you so
keep
much.
encouraging those around you. Keep bringing new women and people into the field, and creating jobs in our Lehigh Valley, and just be you. So thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
Marina.
you so
Appreciate
much.
it. So Vanity Studio and Salon, it is in Emmaus. It's an amazing place. You will want to check it out. And we're so excited to have had Marina here today. Thanks for listening to Unscripted with Russo.